Let's carry on from where we left off. Okay, so yeah, we oh god, something's crackling. Where's my headphones crackling? Oh fuck. Oh fuck it. I'm breaking it. Yeah, so we just had a wow. I can't tell if this is my ear or my headphones. Is my headphones breaking? I hope not. I don't see why they would be. It just sounds weird. Maybe it's fine. I don't know. We just had a full day out with. Was it with both of them? I think it was with both of them. Around the countryside or whatever, and then we went back home and like fucked his house again. So yeah. Wiping the sweat from. Wow, this is really loud as well. Wiping the sweat from my brow, I look. Oh, let me check. Oh yeah, no, it is actually. This seems really loud. Let's just drop it to there. My mic working. My mic is working. It doesn't seem very loud though. Ah, fuck. Alright, let's just leave that there. Wiping the sweat from my brow, I look down at the handiwork for the morning. A long line of freshly planted rice seedlings, their bright green stalks poking just above the muddy brown of the water. A muddy brown that's also covered my hand and the well-worn overalls I'm wearing. Estelle and Susie work on their own column, smartly planting their seedlings, taking a couple of steps back and putting in the next. They seem to be slowly getting the hang of it by now, and Susie's finally stopped complaining about the heat. To be honest, this is a bit odd. While they might be enjoying an activity they've never done before, helping out on the farm has always been a drag for me. I don't have a problem with the effort required. Such mindless, fatiguing work isn't that much different to a good run around the track after all. It's more that I'm not being paid to work my ass off. Deciding it's time for a breather, I start trudging back to the house. I can feel Dad's eyes on me from the porch as I do. Sure, would be nice to be some. That doesn't make sense. Sitting on a chair with a beer and watching his kid and his friends do all the work. I don't know already. Just grabbing a drink. He dutifully reaches back into the cooler beside him, pulling out one of the several soft drink cans and silent open it before handing it to me. I have to admit it, I wouldn't have hated him accidentally handing me one of the beer cans. I sit on the side of the porch and start on my nice cool drink, but a sip reveals it to be lukewarm already. Boo. Beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. So when's the paycheck?
The paycheck is me feeding you, doesn't grow on trees, you know.
Yeah, it kind of does.
The money, not the food. Don't get smart with me, girl. Don't be smart with me, boy.
Somehow, you scolding me doesn't sound so bad these days.
It's good to be scolding you again, too.
Fuck.
Sounds like you had quite a time at Yamaku.
Yeah, I almost killed like 3 people. It was crazy. He answered my puzzled expression quickly.
That Susan's quite a talkative type once you get to know her.
Really? You didn't need to interrogate her for information.
Well, I think we both know there's a lot you haven't told me.
Oh yeah, that's down alright. Hell yeah. It's like definitely not taken from some free visual novel that you get on Steam. I feel a bit sheepish at the quip. It's perfectly true, and now I'm completely up to the judgment of my dad.
Well, there's not much point dwelling on it. Seems you've lived quite a life since you left. One of the things I've learned over the years is that keeping a tight leash on someone like you would just never work out. If you need me, I'm here, but I know you want to work through these things yourself.
That's probably the best reaction I could have hoped for. While I wouldn't say our relationship's ever been bad, I've never been the best behaved kid. He surely knows, at least in vague terms, how much of an asshole I was in Yamaku, but resisted the urge to force me back home or threatened to do so. How you know, by the way, dude? You at work or something? I assume. I don't know. It's like Monday, right? That's like what normal people do. This is like my weekend now. I like just got home. It's like this is my Saturday and Sunday. Doing good, doing the work from home today. Hey, nice one. Is it still like blisteringly cold? I'm guessing with the frost, all the snow and everything on your beard. That was wild. Like, Jesus Christ. How long were you out? Like, how long were you walking for it to get like that? It might have taken the intervention of Susie, but I finally managed to get myself mostly sorted out. I doubt that would have happened if he had gone through with it. Maybe life would have been a lot easier if I was more respecting of authority. It can't be helped. As both of us go go quiet from thought, I bring up something I've been meaning to ask. I see you took down the shed.
Didn't have much use for it after selling the tools. Too many memories anyway.
Beating you in the shed. A while, it doesn't just get out like that. I was gonna say, like, surely, I feel like you did it up for the photo. Like, look how fucking cold it is. Rather than, like, just, like, as soon as it starts to get like that, just go like that and wiping it off. You wanted it to look worse than it did, I think. He's always been more touchy about that time than I've been, and now it's no different. My exact memories of the day I lost my hand have always been weirdly foggy, but I take that over the sense of guilt Dad still has. Oh, did he? I assume she lost it in like maybe a car accident or something. Was he just playing with power tools and just like right off her wrist? I wonder how different my life would have been if not for that ill-fated time I used his power tools. Oh, it actually like was. Okay, fair enough. I don't blame him at all for what happened, despite what he may say. Seizing on a chance to take our minds off the subject, Dad nods to the two ahead of us still working away.
Geez, they're really going for it.
Well, at least trying to. The both of us give a weak smile at Suzu's valiant attempts, but her stamina really isn't up to work. Some of her seedlings have already come out of the ground and started floating on the water too. In contrast, his house practically a machine. He's thrown himself at the task with gusto, trying his best as a man in the prime of his life to live up to Dad's expectations. He seems to have figured this all out pretty intuitively. So, what do you make of them?
They're a couple of kids, even if they are a bit dainty.
What?
Still the last kind of people I'd imagined you to end up with, though.
Yeah, life can be funny sometimes. Sorry for not sticking around on the farm and for being a pain in the ass in general. I guess I'm not really the son you wanted, huh?
Wow, you're not a son at all, you've got tits. Wow, what you say? You've got nothing to be sorry for now. I know it took me too long, but I know you've got your own life to live.
I feel his hands come down on top of my head, giving my hair a good rub. It feels weird after so long without having physical affection. Trying to complain ends up useless, the words catching in my throat. There's little point in denying he'd like me to follow in his footsteps, and I still do think he'd have preferred to have son to a daughter. That said, the fact that he accepts that I am moving along my own path relieves me. I'd harbored that seed of doubt in the back of my head for so long, and now I can finally let it go. Pulled from my thoughts, I followed Dad's gaze out into the fields. Suzu still keeps planting away, but his house stands slightly hunched over. Oh god, his house gonna have a heart attack. He did too much. He did too much physical labor. Let me turn this back up. Whether there's a problem or if he's just tired out is answered as he staggers forward a couple of steps. Both Dad and I standing up to get a better view of what's going on. My heart stops as a leg falls out from under him, his body collapsing sideways into the paddy. Uh-oh. Dad quickly takes off towards him, little care given to suiting up in overalls as he tramples the planted rice all along the way. He can move down fast when he wants to. My role in the affair being reduced to a mere spectator, Suzu also tries to lumber through the thick mud to the fallen boy. Helped up by Dad, Hisao brings an arm over his shoulder for support. The two slowly struggle back towards the house, a deeply concerned Suzu in tow. I feel terrible for not thinking of this. He was obviously pushing himself hard, and the sun's being beaten down on him the entire time. As much as he may not want to admit it, Hisao can't exert himself as much as someone else might.
Vicky, get the phone. The ambulance will be faster than the truck.
It's fine, please. You don't look fine. It's happened before. I just need some rest. Dad and I look to each other. I'm sure whether to trust him. Given that Hisao's the one with the condition, I just give a shrug.
Alright, let's get you inside for now.
The fracas of earlier is finally over, with Hisao's pain having passed. An air of uncertainty still lingers though, as I'm pretty sure nobody is really convinced by Hisao's assurances that everything is fine now. With noon approaching and nobody having the stomach for returning to the field, Suzu and I sit at the low table in preparation for lunch. Given what's on the menu, the reason for Suzu's fidgeting is obvious. Fresh chicken, and actually fresh, unlike the crap in the supermarkets. I've seen it all before, but while I didn't expect Suzu to have the stomach to observe, I'm rather impressed that Hisao went with Dad to see the process. I do wonder how much of that was trying to regain his manly pride though. You okay? I can't stop thinking about that poor chicken. Ooh. Why is it going this weird vegan route? What do you think happens to all the chickens you've eaten before now? At least they're happy on a little farm like this. While they're alive. Well, yeah, they don't have feelings when they're dead, love. Just don't, just don't go vegetarian on me. My efforts to help her seem to be going nowhere, making me almost thankful for the sound of the door sliding open. What the fuck is up with his eyes? Turning to thieves come through, my Sao instantly turns upside down. Hisao's eyes are sunken back, his expression morbid and complexion a ghostly pale. You could be forgiven for thinking he's just witnessed a murder. Well, I mean, it's pretty close. Also, what is this transition? He was like just dying, and now we're just like, hey, we're just completely changing what's going on. They're like watching chickens go to the slaughter. Like, what? I should not have watched that. The monotone statement is all that needed to be said. The boy coming to our table and sitting more like a robot than a human. I feel a bit sorry for him. All I do is scratch my head as I try to work out what to say. It's not that I don't understand how they feel. It's natural to become insulated from the reality of slaughter when the word meat means a shrink-wrapped package from a deli. I've yet to meet a father who enjoys the process either. Well, yeah, it'd be a bit weird if they like actively enjoyed it. I guess it's at least a reality check for them. Life on the farm isn't all frolicking about in the wilderness. He just comes in with like 2 strangled chickens, like in his fist. After some time, Dad eventually arrives with a large plate in his hands. Hisao and Suzu couldn't look less excited to eat, with the thought of one of them howling at the sight of chicken past my mind. As he lowers the plate onto the table, the relief that washes over them is palpable. Rice bowls, assorted vegetables, and some fish. Practically a repeat of breakfast, but he's likely scrounged it up in a hurry. You're just gonna waste that meat?
It'll keep. We can have it sometime later.
Yeah, befriend the chicken, and then we will kill it and then eat it. Sorry to make you go through all this trouble.
Ah, nothing.
He quickly weighs off Suzu's concern as he takes a seat, grabbing his set of food from the platter.
Go on, kids.
Go on, kid.
Go on, eat. Kiss your age and eat all the food you can get.
Hisao manages to force a bite down after taking his food, followed by a more in quick succession as his appetite returns. I have no such reluctance, taking my chopsticks in hand and starting on my fish without any reluctance. I guess you can take a city boy out of the city, but you can't make him into a country boy so quickly.
By the way, there was one other thing.
Susan and Hisao look to each other with concern.
After all the work you did in the fields, I thought that maybe we could hit the baths.
Oh god. Oh god. We're gonna see like massive big dad dick. Awesome. Susie seems nonplussed by the offer, but Hisao looks mightily interested today. He's looking up after all. Ah, this is heaven. I lean back against the wooden skeleton with my elbows resting behind me, taking in the warmth of the water. Every pore of my body soaks in the heat of the bath and steam in the air. It's been way too long since I had the opportunity to do this. Water, I don't want to see him fucking half naked. Oh, Jesus Christ. Water flows in via a wooden pipe mounting just a little above the waterline, giving a nice ambient sound. That and the open doors revealing a faintly moonlit sky outside make for a relaxing atmosphere. Sheesh. The girl sitting next to me doesn't seem so pleased. Her eyes close as she sits next to me. Suzu always acts awkwardly in changing rooms and such. I guess she's got a thing about being naked. Don't know why. She has a perfectly cute body down there. The petite looks pretty in these days. What? I gently poke her cheek with my stump to make sure she hasn't fallen asleep on me. I'm awake. And there's my answer. She might open her eyes, but she still stares at the ceiling instead of looking at me. Okay, so they're like actually naked in the scene, but they're not obviously going to show it. You know, I never asked what you think of all this. About the town? Yeah, Hisao enjoying himself. He almost died, but that's Hisao. But I can't get a read on you. It's a living. Guess as long as you have an internet connection, you're fine, right? You catch on quickly. Hisao sure seems to be enjoying himself, health aside. He's more adaptable than he looks. Sure was a surprise when he shot up that trio. At least you didn't bring along the others from the track club. Hey, they're not that bad. Yet, the only one you brought along was Hisao. And? You can be so stupid sometimes. I'll say it straight. You're interested in him, aren't you?
We've only fucked twice.
The question leaves me momentarily speechless, my body sinking into the bath a bit as I try to pin down my feelings. If she puts things that way, it does seem pretty suspicious. Hisao's a cool guy to hang out with, and his personality has become more interesting since I first met him. It's a little nice to look back and see that. But going out with him, I've never felt romantically attracted to anyone in the past, so I'm not sure how I'm supposed to work out if I'm falling for the guy or not. The relationship seems so constricting that I'm not sure I want to be in one in the first place. The untethered life has its advantages. I wonder if that's how he sees things, though. Now that I think about it, I never took his feelings into account. That sure is a gnarly question. Suzu looks genuinely surprised that I'm mulling it over. She probably got some idea that I'd fallen from in her head and been running with it for a while now. It's only now that I realise she may have had ulterior motive in asking. Oh, wait, are you... He's a friend, nothing more. But you, on the other hand. She gets points for making herself clear at least. It's too bad. I would have thought him to be just her type. I just brought him here because I thought he might enjoy it. When he said he didn't have any friends back home to spend the time with, I guess I could... damn, what's the word? Empathize with him? Yeah, that's it. I could understand how he'd feel, so I let him hang with us. So that's why most of this trip you've been on a tour of your childhood? So now we finally get to the heart of the topic. She thinks I've been showing Hisao my past out of affection. I guess I've been somewhat selfish in how I've been dragging them around with me wherever I wanted to go. Don't worry about me or Hisao. If you have debts to settle, go ahead and deal with them. You make it sound like I have baggage. Not a person alive who doesn't. True. I guess that makes one person in the world who knows the carefree life I live in Yamako isn't completely truthful. Even I thought I had my shit together, but it turns out life isn't always so simple. Thanks, Suzu. I don't say this enough, but I'm glad to have you around. I wait for a reply, but the only sound to be heard is water trickling in. I give Suzu another bump on the cheek with my stump, but this time no reaction is forthcoming. Well, I guess staying in for a few more minutes wouldn't hurt. Just make sure she doesn't like drown. A gentle breeze flows through my... Oh, at the baseball. Yeah. A gentle breeze flows through my hair as I stand where I'd spent so much of my childhood. It's a sorry excuse for a baseball pitch, I suppose. Not much more than a disused field near the school, covered in dirt and tan gravel. The only sign of what it was ever used for are the barely visible white lines on the ground and a couple of benches to the side. The batting stance is still second nature after all these years, a reasonably straight branch serving as a makeshift bat as I prepare for the pitch. The beat-up pitching machine before me stands silent, ready to spit a ball at me any second. A heavy clunk sends the entire machine shuddering on its legs, the ball sent flying towards me at relatively easy speed. The familiar feeling of impact flows through my arm and my entire body twisting out as I give a good solid hit. Wait, so it wasn't her batting hand? I mean, I guess you... I mean, it would be difficult with a player one-handed, but it doesn't seem like completely impossible. Like, you don't need to catch as a batter, right? You just need to, like... I mean, I guess it's, like... people do it two-handed for a reason. I don't know. The ball flies out, arcing into the sky, before giving up, pathetically dropping back down near second base. It gives a soft thud as it hits the ground, all energy lost as it barely even rolls before coming to a halt. Yeah, fair enough. She's just like... It's just weak. Worthless. Utterly shit. I knew I shouldn't have tried. Infuriated, I slammed the stick against the ground, breaking it in half without even trying. The spike of adrenaline in my system spurs me into flinging the half still in my hand into the air in base, sending it flying further than the ball ever got. Far from satisfied, I walk over to the pitching machine and give it a strong kick. The old thing falls to the ground with a loud clatter, but I'm sure it still works just fine. It's managed to survive so long that I probably couldn't kill it no matter how much I abused the thing. The destruction at least lets me vent off a bit of steam, leaving me standing around frustrated and empty-handed. For lack of anything else to do, I give up and let myself fall back onto the ground with a thud. It hurts a bit to land on the gravel, but I don't care. This is why being left to myself is always trouble. My mind wanders into troublesome places. Looking at the impossibly vast blue sky above, I'm left to wonder what I really expected from coming out here. Baseball's just supposed to be played with both hands still attached to their wrists, after all. It's pathetic. I can't even get a clean hit past the bases. Let alone aim in any meaningful way. It's obvious time wouldn't change that, but something in the back of my head kept whispering to me, urging me to try just once for old time's sake. I guess that part of my head could shut up now. As I stare at the sky, up at the sky, a face cast in shadow looms over me. Hey, sup? What are you doing here? Just wanted to see what you were up to after how you disappeared. Susie with you? Nah, she's napping. At least she was when I left. I wonder how much she saw. Then again, it doesn't really matter. Being at a baseball field is plenty enough to understand, much less the pitching machine lying near me. Isao briefly looks up to see what I was staring at. That sure is the sky. Smart ass. Did you take Dad's bike up here? Yeah, why? You sure you're okay to bike this far? After yesterday and all? I'm fine, don't worry about it. Isao steps back, the tone of his voice telling me that I've hit a landmine. He really doesn't like talking about his heart condition. I put myself to my feet in response, dusting off my hair and the back of my shirt afterwards. You don't need to be like that. Everyone's got their share of problems to deal with, you know. My stomach chooses now of all times to growl loudly, farting around at midday may have been a mistake. Hisao just grimaces. You don't say. That was pretty abrupt as well. While some things may be the same, there are a few oddities that have popped up since I left. This place is just one of them. It's the kind of eatery that wants to be a restaurant but can't help feeling more like a cafe. While the owner seems to be making a genuine effort and making their dream come true and owning their own little restaurant, their budget and likely their customer base is lacking. Yeah, I mean, in a place like that, you can't really expect too much. But the food is what counts, and as the owner places a bowl of tempura soba before each of us, the smell is enough to know this is going to be good. I spit my chopsticks and grab at the tempura, taking a good chunk out of it as the noodles steam away. Hisao, on the other hand, simply blows on his bowl with the tempura still in it. Come on, man, what are you doing? What do you mean? You're just gonna let it get all soggy. It's called letting it soak in the broth. It tastes better. Making a soggy mess in your noodles, more like. He just shrugs before idly looking about while his meal cools. Go fuck yourself, I don't care. You know, there's something I've noticed about this town. Yeah? I lean in, interested to hear his views on it. I think saying it's a town is being too generous. It's definitely a village. Come on, really? The town centre you wanted to show us before is one street. So? A small street. I can count the number of shops on one hand. Alright, fine, geez. We can't all come from the big smoke. From the big smoke. Still a town. He just snorts at that mumble a last rebuke. So, why were you playing Godzilla in the baseball field anyway? There it is. I guess I should have paid more attention to my surroundings before losing my temper. Playing Godzilla. It's funny. The two of us are briefly distracted by an impromptu visitor with a disheveled stray cat strolling past us as if it owned the place. It eventually hops up onto the sill of an open window, flicking its tail for a few moments before hopping down. His just smiles, which at least lightens my own mood a little. I guess I just couldn't admit that it was over. I had no idea you were so into baseball. Were you good? Boy, I was the clean-up hitter, slammed that thing harder than any of them could. You must have been pretty talented. Talent is how lazy people justify being bad at something. Dude, fucking true. I worked my goddamn ass off to get that good. I lived and breathed baseball, followed the leagues, had my favourite players, watched it on the little television even when the reception was shit. I put blood, sweat and tears into it, all to run for the base just a second or so quicker and hit the ball just that few more yards. It was my thing, you know? I had purpose. I could always aim to be that little bit better every day. I never felt lost in life because I could see the path ahead was so clear. I was going to devote myself to becoming the best there was, whether I was a boy or a girl. And then the accident happened. That must have been hard. I just shrugged, making him lift a brow. It's kind of weird. Losing my hand in itself was a pain in the ass, of course. Found the physical therapy easier than most do, but that isn't really saying much. But the hardest thing to accept was that I'd reached my peak. I reached the top of my personal Everest and could only ever see see lower mountains before me. My life would be all downhill from there. What do you do after you've reached the top, Hisao? In all these years, I've never found an answer. So I'm using you as a scratching post, aren't I? If I had an answer for it, I tell you, I'd sure like to know that myself. Hisao? He gets up from his chair, his meal finished, save for the broth left sitting in the bowl. Let's go. I'm sure the others are waiting for us to get back. Bro, I'm still eating. What the fuck? As soon as we walk in the door, bikes left, propped against the wall, I can hear the voices of Suzu and Dad from the living room, wondering what they'd have to talk about. Hisao and I head towards the source. I groan the moment the slides open the door. The two sit at the table with an old leather-bound album opened in its center. Suzu peering over to see this photo and that. Did you have to show them?
I don't get to do this often, you know.
Resigned to my fate, I follow Hisao to the table. Everyone crowds around to get the best view as Dad sits to the side. I'm in progress past the baby photos in elementary school. It sits at the years I was in junior high. The school photo takes up most of the page with a few elementary students sitting on chairs. As about 14 junior high schoolers, me included, stand behind them in our summer uniforms. I like the outfit. She points to the back row, the girls clad in our black trimmed white sailor tops and long black skirts, and the boys in their smart white shirts. I don't mind the look though, they tended to get dirty pretty fast. Was this seriously the whole school?
Sure was. One class for elementary students, another for junior high. The teachers were good folks, despite whatever Miki said.
That's you, isn't it? He points to a girl in the back row, grinning away happily. How do you know? Because you're the only black one. Dad chuckles as he turns the page, but the corner of his mouth tugs downwards upon catching sight of the next photo. 10 boys and a girl, all of us dressed in identical pinstripe baseball outfits, a lot less formal than the classroom photo, but some have arms around those next to them while others pull faces. One of my better friends at the time grabs me in close around my neck as I hold my trusty bat over my shoulder. Our ponytailed coach simply stands by us, smiling with pride at the team he worked so hard to raise. Every one of us was a friend to each other. We had fights, of course, as friends sometimes do. As we got older, those fights sometimes ended up with real injuries too. Given a focus for our youthful energy, we all poured ourselves into the sport, trying to be the best junior team there was. The last few months of my life here saw that wonderful life crumble before my eyes. I noticed Sal looking sidelong at me without knowing quite how to react. I just look away. So, this is the baseball club you're in? Wait, you were the only girl? Yeah, why? A lot of things about you suddenly make a lot of sense. It's kind of hard to even recognize you, given you're all wearing the same stuff. Puberty sure took a whack at me, didn't it? His whole constant attempts to be tactful, making it all too tempting to tease him. What happened to them? Are they still around?
They left for the city. Happens a lot these days.
I heard about that. Lots of rural places having problems with the younger generations moving out without people replacing them.
That's exactly it. Why I said there's not much of a future in places like this.
That must be frustrating.
Frustrating? Nah, some of the older folks around here have opinions when it comes to today's kids, but I don't hold it against them. You two would know better than most how inviting city life must be. Convenient was the word they used when they described it after leaving.
But still, this is your home.
It might be a home, but it's also a business. Gotta make money to live after all. When you're up against those gigantic agriculture corporations, little family farms like this don't stand much of a chance. It's the same story for all the farms here, whether the old coots admit it or not. While, Jesus Christ, while it used to be a vibrant, lively place, I can't help but feel the town's not much more than a museum piece these days. Don't know if it would take years or decades, but eventually this way of life just isn't going to exist anymore. True. I'm sorry for bringing it up. Oh, to be, change happens. I know that ain't a good thing or a bad one, it's just the way things go. But even so, I guess it does feel a little bit sad.
His and Susie appear to take him at his word, but I know something else lies beyond those tired eyes, a wound that never truly healed. With that, he solemnly closes the album. Once again, I find myself sitting on the porch in the cool nighttime air. I suppose it's natural to want some time alone when surrounded by people the entire day, even if it does mean getting less sleep. I look down at the photo held in my lap once more, 11 happy kids beaming at the camera, a girl with a bat and a toothy smile. You're up late? He takes a seat beside me, plopping himself down with a grunt. My first instinct is to hide the photo, but the question of where I possibly could puts that to a stop. Become a bit of a nightly rendezvous, huh? Purely by accident, I swear. You're not just feeling randy again. So this is what I get for being worried about you. That's harsh. We both chuckle, though it ends as Hisel looks down at the picture in my hand. I doubt he picked up on Dad's feelings, but my moaning beforehand probably stuck with him. It's a nice photo. You know, I was surprised to not see more baseball stuff around your house when I arrived. Not much reason to keep that stuff. It only ever reminded me of what I lost, so I threw it all away. I held the photo up a little. You know, I tried to get rid of this too. I scavenged a cigarette lighter and had the photo right here. I just hated it. It was the last record of everything that was taken away from me. My friends, my hobby, my dreams. I wanted to get rid of it so much, but it's hard to truly let go. With the words stolen from my mouth, I silently looked to the boy sitting next to me. He looks like an old man, the wary smile on his face making my heart sting a little. The lady you saw from Iwanaka, Iwanaka, I don't know. I couldn't bring myself to throw it out, scrunched it up and threw it into the bin, but I just ended up digging it back out. But she broke up with you. What's the point in keeping something like that? Because it proves that those times existed. Just because she broke up with you, it doesn't mean that those times we had before that went away. It's not just her either. Even since I saw the nostalgia on your face, I guess I felt sort of the same thing as I thought back to my childhood. I know it's not the same as baseball was to you, but I never appreciated how much soccer practice meant to me until I lost it. Just getting together with friends every week to kick a ball around. It sounds so trivial, doesn't it? Dude, I felt the same when I left school. It's like the only thing I missed. He leans back and closes his eyes, his mind obviously in another place. Messing around at arcades with friends, gazing at cute girls, sneaking peeks at dirty magazines and convenience stores, riding bikes around the city, covertly exchanging notes with friends during class, hoping for a good mark as each new test rolled around. And then sitting alone in a hospital bed, smelling bleach and staring at 4 sterile white walls. What happened to them? Your friends, that is. They visited damn near every day at first, all of us chatting away as they kept me up to date on what's happening at school and at soccer. Then it became once every few days, then once a week, and time went on. We stopped talking so much. None of us outright said it, but it was pretty damn obvious. I was moving further and further from my circle of friends. They were living lives full of new experiences every day, while I just saw the occasional new patient wheeled into the room every so often. Then finally, one day, they just stopped coming at all. I guess they got bored of me. How can you say that so easily? Probably because I knew it was coming. It was the same for Iwanaka as well. A long, slow fade to nothing rather than any kind of dramatic breakup. I suppose that's why I couldn't throw out that letter. It'd be easy to say my life got reset when I started Yamako, but that'd be a lie. I lived. It was a good life too, even if I can't return those times anymore. I think I want to remember them. And that's what you wanted to say to me before? Pretty much. I just wanted to let you know that you're not alone. I get what you're going through though. I did come here to show Hisao and Suzu what country life was like, but in the process I got completely distracted by the relics of my old life. Here I was thinking about myself while Hisao was there going through all the same shit. Only now do I realise what made me notice him in the first place after he transferred in. That feeling of connection, of sharing something, that was always in the background. You're not alone. Those 3 words are enough to make a lump form in my throat. I take a deep breath to try and steady myself. Man, what the hell? I thought I had all my shit together and then you go and drop that on me? I just sigh and smile at him, clearing my thoughts as I do. Thanks, it means a lot. He just smiles, the two of us looking up in the night sky. The scene was so sad. I don't care. I don't care. Boy, did he do something crazy? Bruh. What the fuck? Right, so. A stick loudly snaps as I move through the undergrowth, roots and fallen branches beneath my feet, and the forest green summertime leaves hanging overhead. No less noisy as we carry ourselves up past the foothills is Hisao walking a couple of yards behind to let me navigate the barely visible path. Each of us uses a hastily found stick as a trekking pole, which has helped us make pretty good progress up to the hill so far. I'm reasonably confident that said progress has been in the right direction, nothing more than a trail of worn ground from previous travellers. The path we follow has very nearly faded back into the bushes and leaves thanks to nobody coming through here for so long. This fucking track is loud. Our movement disturbs a bird who'd been resting in a low branch, and annoyed chirping ringing out with a slight echo as it flutters past us. You sure it's alright not to ask Suzu to come along? Oh, we're definitely gonna fuck out in the woods. She's probably going to sleep for ages, and besides, can you really imagine her wanting to do this? Good point. The two of us continue walking, looking at this and that as we move. It doesn't look like this pace is too hard for Hisao, and he isn't showing any signs of slowing. This reminds me a lot of jogging around the track at Yamaku. Come to think of it, pushing myself onwards with a feeling of accomplishment coming from the fatigue. The humidity is also pretty nice with the moisture in the air trapped beneath the canopy. Say, have you ever done this before? Hiking, camping, seeing the great outdoors? Sure, not really my thing, but I've done it. Wait, really? I thought you were some super urban kind of kid. These things are all cars and trains for that matter. They can take you out of the city. Let's see, I've been around Hakone a couple of times on family trips. Nice place for relaxing in a hot spring after a day of hiking, actually. Had a flight down to Okinawa once as well. You've flown? That's awesome. It's not that unusual these days. What's it like? Come on, tell me. Taken off guard by my enthusiasm, he struggles a little to get his words together. That's are actually kind of hard to answer. There's a lot of waiting around for one, waiting in lines, waiting at the terminal, waiting at the gate, waiting for takeoff, do the real. Now, once you're in the air, you're really just sitting in a metal tube for a few hours. Your eyes get all funny from the changing pressure, and your eyes dry out from the recirculated air. The food's pretty miserable too. And don't get me started on crying kids or being stuck next to some chatty person for ages when you just want to watch an in-flight movie or look out the window. Huh, so it's not all that great then? No, it fucking sucks. It's incredibly cool, despite all that. It still managed to be fantastic. No, it doesn't. This owl sounds really keyed up about it. Not that I don't understand, just the idea of a massive machine lifting hundreds of people into the sky and putting them back down again blows my mind. So you'd be up for a 16-hour flight to the Big Apple? Maybe it's not that cool. My smile drops as I remember what part of the hike we're nearing. Sure enough, the next few yards, me walking along a particularly narrow ridge running alongside a steep drop. It'd be damn near suicidal in bad weather as you'd be a goner if you slipped. I reflexively step back as a familiar dropping feeling inside my gut comes over me. Isao steps alongside, puts a hand on my shoulder to steady me as he peers over. The bastard doesn't look fazed by the sight at all. Maybe a plane trip would have been the best idea for someone like you. Just shut up and let me focus. I put my shoulder from his grasp and force myself to continue walking, doing my best not to look down. So what if I don't like heights? Not that uncommon, right? My legs and arms are tense as I gingerly place step after step, every bit of my mental strength focused on keeping my eyes pinned forwards. Isao thankfully keeping his mouth shut and lets me take this at my own pace. This is fine, I can do this, just one foot ahead of the other. I breathe a sigh of relief as the path winds back away from the ledge, taking a few gasps of air as I lean against the trunk of a large tree and wait for Isao to catch up. He flashes a smile as once he does, the two of us continuing on. The slowly rising angle we have to walk up does nothing to stop the wildlife, the undergrowth around us getting thicker if anything. The odd squawk and cry from this bird or that can be heard, and the shaking of a bush here and there reminds us that we're far from alone. Noticing that Isao's footsteps have stopped, I look back to see what's holding him up. Turns out he's paused to look at a lizard sunbathing on the side of a rock. Let's go. Looking slightly embarrassed at me having noticed him, he quickly falls in behind me once more. You sure you know where we're going? How long have I lived here? Of course I know the way. If you say so. I said I hiked before, but there aren't any paths at all. There are, you just need to know where to look. My confidence seems to settle him down, and if we're where I think we are, it shouldn't take long to prove my point. Sure enough, in the distance I can see sunlight breaking through the line of trees. Just a little further, we should reach the spot. Cute. Emerging from the forest into the clearing, Hisao and I stop side by side to take in the sight. A couple of fallen logs stripped of their branches and laid either side of a stone campfire pit laid in the center, with an old tire hung from a branch by a fraying rope to the side. Near my feet sits a faded "Keep Out" sign, the pole attached to it having come out of the ground during some storm or another. We probably didn't follow building standards all that well when we hammered it into the ground. A few other bits and pieces we dragged up here to make the place feel a little bit more like our own soon about, though most have been blown away or stolen. Still, I'm kind of impressed as much as I left, a little testament to our friendship still surviving so long after we left. I'm guessing you had a hand in this? Sure did, it used to be more impressive, but the fact that anything's still here is a bit of a surprise. Now, do you trust that I know my way around? Alright, you win, let's see. Sounds like a solid plan. Hisao goes to one log and I walk to the other, propping my trusty stick against it and undoing the zip of my backpack and rifling around for the rice balls I packed. Managing to grasp the small bag they're in with the tips of my fingers, I pull them out as I take a seat. Hisao unclips the bag slung around his shoulder, lifting the flap and grabbing a bottle filled with water. I'm glad to have a chance to rest my legs, but it's Hisao I'm more worried about now. Now that he's seated, that terrible wheeze he sometimes gets has returned. Doing okay? You look pretty beat. He takes a big gulp of water before answering, wiping his mouth with his sleeve. Yeah, I'm fine, just needed a breather. I almost offer if he'd prefer to turn back after we're done here, but think better of it. He'd just say we should keep going, regardless of whether he was having chest problems or not. It worries me, but it also makes me admire him a little. It's easy to be all gung-ho when you're a fit person, the prime of your life, but Hisao pushes himself hard all the time, despite his condition, both around here and at the track at Yamaku. Maybe that's why he's such a balanced person. After all, he has a good, sensible head on his shoulders, is reasonably fit given everything that's happened to him, and is smart enough to be Mewtwo's pet in class. He might be a bit awkward socially, but at least he tries to be outgoing. Just an all-round good kid, really. Too bad he doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean shit when life decides to screw you over. Any good? The rice balls? Oh, right. Guess they're okay. Did you make them or what? Yeah, it's kind of hard to mess up rice balls though. True. Well, there is one thing about him that I don't like. The tendency of him to so visibly think about what he wants to say. The topic of cooking's put something into his head, but he won't come out with it. What's up? I was trying to put this tactfully, but I guess that's unnecessary when it comes to you. I give a disarming smile at his attitude. He takes it as permission to go on. Is your mother? Oh, it's just that. I should probably have said something about it before it became the elephant in the room. Come to think of it, I wonder how long that's been on his mind, and Susie for that matter. Don't tell me he's been trying to ask me about it for the entire time he's been here. Man, you don't need to pussyfoot around that stuff. It's not much of a story, to be honest. My mother ditched me and Dad when I was really young, about 3 years old, I think. She just left? Yep. Up and left. Got her stuff, walked out the door, and that was the last either of us ever heard of her again. Jeez, that's rough. I just shrugged. It is what it is. Not that I was old enough to understand what was going on, or even to really remember the event in the first place. Leaning forward with my arm outstretched to offer some rice balls to Hisao, he takes a couple and starts grazing on them. Do you ever wonder where she is now? Whether you might be able to contact her somehow? She could be dead in a ditch for all I care. Why would I give a shit about someone who abandoned their own baby and left her husband heartbroken? I don't have any trace of anger in my voice, but the idea obviously puts Hisao off. I don't blame him. I've long since come to accept that my situation is different to the vast majority of people out there. That's not their fault, nor mine. You might have a half-sister or half-brother, though. That's not a terrible argument, but I already know my answer. I guess I've never put much weight on blood ties. Having a sister would have been kind of nice, though. A younger one, so I could dote on her or be the cool older sis. Yeah, I could see that. What about you? Only child, right? Yeah, no sisters or brothers for me. I don't know. I think I'm pretty okay with it. I'm good with kids, but I don't know about growing up beside one. So you're the fatherly type, huh? I could see myself with kids, yeah. Having a family would be good. What's with that face? Were you born 40 years old? Some of us can look further into the future than the next millionaire. I just laugh. He's not wrong, really. Finishing his last rice ball and putting away his bottle, Isel clips up his bag and takes it to his feet, collecting his trekking pole before walking over and offering me a hand up. Good to go? You know it. That was cute. The trick, they should have, like, if you're gonna do a little campfire scene, at least get like the marshmallows out. Like, come on, you can't be eating rice balls. That's lame. The trek takes its toll on our legs as we push ourselves along. The incline up the hill now quite severe. Not only that, but the overgrown roots sticking out of the ground and uneven rocks leading upwards force us to be careful that we don't break or twist an ankle. It's painful, but not all pain is bad. From the way Hisal's holding onto his waist, it looks like he's more in pain than I, having developed a stitch. Better than having a heart problem, I suppose. Man, I haven't had a stitch in years. That shit sucks, though. How far is it to go? Stop whining, you big baby. That's easy for you to say. Hisao pushing himself a little harder after I scolded him. Despite what he says, at least his awkwardness about being beat out physically by a girl has finally disappeared. More and more rays of sunshine managed to peek through the leaves overhead, casting spots of light on the lush green bushes around us. My heart is beginning to beat faster and faster, but it isn't from exhaustion. We're so nearly there, just a little further now. The look of the area has changed a fair bit from when I was last in the spot, but that's only natural given the surroundings dying off and regrowing. Something about it feels familiar though. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's there. The feeling of tiredness in my muscles slowly begins to fade from my mind as to the sound of the birds and other wildlife. Dropping my makeshift pile, it takes some effort not to run the last of the distance, anticipation filling my body. Wow. Reminds you of fucking Higurashi. Sunlight assaults my eyes as I emerge through the tree line, forcing me to squint heavily. As my eyes adjust, the sight before me is just as tremendous as I hoped. I hear Hisao come up behind me. I hear Hisao come up behind me, gasping wirelessly at the view. From where we stand, the entire town can be seen below. The breeze brushes past us as we stand and stare, taking in the vast fields and the narrow roads between them. Old wooden farmhouses, some nearly restored, others run down from old age. The river cutting through the valley, acting as a vital artery to the entire town. Telephone poles with wires hanging loosely running along the streets. I can't help but give a wistful smile as I turn back to Hisao. Welcome to my home, Hisao. My entire life is down there, you know, where I was born, where I played, and where I went to school, where I found a dream and had it dashed, where I made friends and lost friends. It might not be much, but it's mine. I take a long breath to steady myself. It's not often I get emotional, but after so long, I just can't help it. This is why I brought you here, Hisao. I did kind of get wrapped up in my own nostalgia for the place, but in the end, we managed to get here. I bring my arms out wide before letting them fall back to my sides. This is me. Hisao just looks wordlessly at my smiling face before letting himself fall to the ground with a thud, completely exhausted. He just sits there with his hands on the ground behind me, looking into the eyes as he pants and sweats heavily. Now that I think of it, I must look like a total mess right now. Sweat's all over me and I can feel a couple of hairs stuck to my face. That fact quickly becomes unimportant as I look into Hisao's eyes, suddenly noticing something different inside of them. I can't take this anymore. You win already. Huh? What are you going on about? He pauses to take some much needed air before looking to me with a full face of both exhaustion and a warmth I've never seen him have before. I love you, Miki. Aw, my heart stops. No, it would be more correct to say the whole world around me stopped, with me taken completely by surprise. This is how he feels the silence. This BGM doesn't quite fit. I've completely fallen for you. I don't know if this can go anywhere, but I can't take this any longer. You showed me so much that I feel a child seeing the world for the first time all over again. I want to keep on seeing new things too, and I want to see them with you together. Questions slowly begin to fill my mind. How long has he liked me? What should I say? What should I do? Should I have noticed his feelings before now? We had a good thing going with our friendship, but could we ever go back to it now? But somehow, none of those questions really seem to matter. All that I can think about is the boy sitting before me, eyes full of wariness, hope and love. Nobody's ever looked at me with such a face before. So that's Hisao's judgment. After seeing all of this, I showed him everything and what he felt from that was love. It's kind of funny, so much so that I start laughing. I don't really know why it's funny at all, but it just seems so inexplicably hilarious that I can't stop. Hisao just looks up at me like a buffoon, unable to interpret my response at all. I need to get another bottle of water. BRB. Take a deep breath to collect myself, smiling down at him. You sure make a terrible Romeo. He just hangs his head at the quip. Yikes. He might not exactly be the most poetic type, nor the most manly in sweeping me off my feet, but that's fine. For good or bad, he's Hisao. I offer him a hand which he takes and he leaves himself back up. With the two of us side by side on the peak of the hill overlooking the town, I sling my arms around his neck. Together, huh? That doesn't sound so bad when you say it. Oh. Cute. That could have gone a little bit longer. I feel like a lot of these end really abruptly. Nothing gets me going like a good sprint, one foot hitting the ground quickly after the other. The buildings and plants around me seem to fly past. My breath short but measured as I throw myself towards with glee.
Stop! I'm telling you, stop right there!
Ah ha ha. I can't help but laugh at him for. There's no way that old man could outrun someone like me, no matter how carefully ironed his poncy uniform is. He looks more like an office worker than security, not that it's easy to see him in the darkness. To his credit, he is managing to keep out going by the circle of torchlight swinging to and fro on the ground just before me as he frantically gives chase. Are we just gonna like run to his dorm? What's happening? One problem with living in the country is that if you miss one train, the effect ripples down as you end up missing the next few connections as well. By the time we finally got back to Yamaku, it was well past curfew. Not that I mind, after all, I'm having the time of my life right now. The plus side to the nighttime darkness that's falling over the school grounds is that it's trivial to sneak in. With me acting as a decoy to draw the guard away, Hisao and Suzu should be well on their way to their respective dormitory buildings by now. Okay. The security guard yells out some more, but it only makes me go faster. My hair and my shirt billow in the wind as I run through the grounds, the night air feeling wonderfully refreshing against my skin as I move. Hello again, Yamaku. Oh, not you. Get out. You, get out. This story was good and now you're here. You're Miku. Oh god, that was a bit deeper than before. Harry raises a hand in greeting as he notices me walking down the hallway towards class. Hey, unusual to see you here so early.
Got plenty of time to recharge over the holidays after all. We ready and raring to go.
He just sounds like the dad now. You ruined everything. Didn't you work in your family's bakery? How's that going to recharge you?
Bacon is fun, you know. Besides, it's not like I work for free.
He reached into his back pocket, pulling out his smart brown wallet. The number of bills he pulled out makes my heart skip a beat. Dude.
This is what it's all about, girl. Fat stacks.
Gimme, I want to touch it. He gingerly hands it over. My hands instinctively snatching the wad of cash from his pocket. Right, now make it run for it. So this is what it feels like to be rich. I rub the notes between my fingers, taking in the texture before bringing them underneath my nose and taking a whiff. Smells like capitalism.
Part of capitalism is paying the worker, so give that back.
I frowned as I dutifully hand him back his money. That was probably the most cash I've ever held in my hands at once. Sounds like you enjoyed yourself at least.
Sure did. You didn't kill Hisao and Suzu, did you?
No, they're still kicking around. I fucked them twice though. As we walk into the classroom, my point is made for me. Suzu sits at her desk while Hisao talks to her while standing in front of it. Everything really is back to normal. Giving a hearty stretch in part from lack of sleep, I walk over to the two as Harry takes a seat. So you managed to avoid the guard then? Come on, who do you take me for? Thanks for doing that anyway. We have all been screwed if you didn't draw him away. It was a nice run. And besides, it's kind of hard to refuse you now. He just smiles and scratches his head. If I really wanted to torture him, I'd have given him a big old kiss in front of the class, but I'll save him the embarrassment for now. Suzu just gives us a sigh as she starts getting her things out for the day ahead. I probably should have asked, but are you okay with this, Suzu? It's not up to me. Besides, I largely expected it. I just hope the influence you have over one another runs it in one particular direction more than the other. I stick my tongue out at the cheeky girl. I'm glad she doesn't seem to mind, though. It probably would be best not to be too touchy-feely around her, going by her reactions to it. As we talk, I look back to see Mewtwo striding into class, the day's teaching material held under his arm. As good as catching up with others might be, I suppose school wouldn't be school without the pain of classes. As he deposits his folders and books on the desk, Mewtwo's head perks up as he notices that I'm here.
Ah, good morning.
Morning. All rested up after the holidays?
Teachers don't get holidays.
Seriously?
We take training, mark tests, and prepare lesson plans for the next semester. As much as I'd like to rest, there isn't much time for it.
That's terrible. How can anyone live like that?
It's the life I chose, so it's not that bad. You seem quite tired though. Not enough sleep.
No, just all night fucking. Yeah, got to sleep pretty late last night. He doesn't say a word, content to simply stare at me intently. I keep smiling, but I know damn well that I just dug my own grave. Shit. Whoops. Shit. Bloody shit. Sweating's just going to get you more detention if a teacher hears you. I continue grumbling on my breath as we walk, both of us loaded down with thick textbooks as we walk down to the hallway to the library. The sounds of people outside enjoying their lunch break, making this all the more dreary. In the end, there just aren't that many girls here brazen enough to try outrunning the security guard at night, let alone doing it while laughing maniacally. Watson into Mewtwo's trip didn't help my case either. At least I'm not alone in my punishment with Hisao having volunteered to take a load down there as well. Thanks for offering to help me with these. To be honest, that was just because I was going to the library anyways. Fucking nerd. I keep watching him as we walked, losing my self-awareness a little as I do. Is there something on your face? I was wondering how I ended up going out with a dork like you. What about me? What about me? A dedicated student hanging around a total delinquent's not a good look. I bump him on my hip, earning a sigh. He might have roped me into a relationship. I'm not going to make it easy for him. Walking into the library, it looks just as it always has. Students quietly read away with the odd sign that is unmistakably Yamaku lying around, like their cane propped against a desk or Braille look being scaled over by the fingers of a pretty blonde. Hanako, as always, is just visible in her little corner, burying her face in some novel or another. She sits on that big beanbag of hers. It's too bad a couple of times I tried to get close to her has failed so utterly. Hisao quietly calls out and we come with the textbooks, given that nobody's behind the counter to take them. Before I suggest we just dump them for the staff to sort out, a loud thump from under the counter gives us both a jump. Every fucking time, Yuko. Yuko slowly emerges from the ground, rubbing her sore head as she stands. The poor girl never seems to have much luck. That sounded bad. That's the second time today. Maybe you should start wearing a helmet. The quip doesn't go over well. The librarian becomes even more depressed. I feel like I just kicked a puppy. I haven't had enough of standing around with this weight in my arm. I sit the pile on the counter. Hisao quickly does the same, putting the stack beside mine. These are the ones Mewtwo borrowed for class? Yeah, they should all be accounted for. As Yukio begins to count out the bugs, my interest in staying here starts rapidly dropping. My eyes drawn towards the door. The bat doesn't escape herself. You can at least try to hide your lack of interest. I can't help it. I'm allergic to paper. Oh, really? Yes, really. I break out in a rash. The only cure... I shuffle a couple of steps towards the door. Is to go. A couple more steps. I've nearly managed to escape. Outside. I feel the tips of Hisal's fingers brush against my arm, but I slip from his grasp and slide out the door. I'm finally free. Wandering past the tree... Oh, it's a little loud too. Whoops. Wandering past the trees to the track, all the usual suspects are hanging around. Emmy and the track captain pout around at high speed as if they had any other speed they'd go at, while most of the others are stretching and chatting between themselves. As much as I'd like to call this familiar scene home, it's only going to last a few more months. When that time comes, this will all be gone, just like my life at the farm. Not wanting to get caught up in my angst, I give a big stretch to try and ward off my tiredness before walking around the track and up to the assorted club members. Yo.
I was wondering when you had shown up here.
Is that in a good way or a bad way?
Guess. Can't you two get along just for a single day after the holidays?
It's his fault.
What? No, it is not. Now, children, stop fighting.
Fine, too tired for this shit anyway.
Right. Right.
Oh, fuck you.
Tried to keep your holiday going a bit too long.
Something like that. I think I needed a holiday just to recover from my holiday.
A lot happened then.
You have no idea. Yukio's gaze shifts over my shoulder, turning to see what takes his attention. I see Hisao shining up. Guess he's got bored of his precious books. Speak of the devil. Hey guys.
You managed to survive then?
Why does everyone say that? After what happened? I don't know exactly wrong to wonder.
Can't leave us hanging, man. What's the story?
Well... He looks to me with a slightly questioning face as if asking how best to break the news. It turns to a look of concern as the corners of my mouth curl upwards. I grab his tie with both my hands, yanking his face towards mine. Our mouths meet. My house that's cute. Skipping a beat as I feel his lips press against mine. He gives a muffled mumble of surprise, but it only makes me kiss him all the harder. Letting go of his tie, he stumbles back and gasps for air. I can't wipe the toothy grin off my face, smiling so hard that my cheeks almost hurt.
Well. You're a braver man than I.
Yukio is left scratching his head. Hao steps forward and pats Hisao on the shoulder. Hisao finally manages to collect himself after a few moments, though it's obvious his heart's still racing. She's not that bad. Oh, that was... She's not that bad.
I sure hope it works out for you. If anyone can civilize this savage, it's you.
I'm right here, dude.
I know that.
Someone a few yards away calls for Yukio, and with a quick wave, he leaves us. Hao turns on the ball of his heel, about to follow.
Good luck, you two.
He gives a wink and with that walks away. Hisao stays silent as I wave him off. Got bored of the library, huh? Yeah. The silence between us is more noticeable thanks to the noise from the other club members. Hisao's cheeks look slightly rosier than they did before, leading to only one conclusion. You're not embarrassed from the kiss, are you? His face flowers into a scarlet blush as he buries it in his hands. I just laugh, partly at him and partly to shrug off my own feelings. The feeling of his love against mine still lingers in my mind after all. You're too soft, boy. That was off. Oh shit! Oh, wait, that was the first kiss. God damn, that was our first kiss, and it was a good one too. The rayness in his eyes as he looks to me tells me that he's finally come to realize what he's got himself in for. Taking pity on him, I reach forward and rub his hair. Why do you keep doing that? It's embarrassing. Because I like doing it. Why else? Oh, shud. No, I don't even know. Yep, that's fine. Because I like doing it, why else? Hisao frowns, but I can tell he secretly enjoys it. He tends to be cutest when he's trying not to be. There was something I wanted to ask you before you ran away from the library and left me standing there like a goose, that is. Go on. He clears his throat and takes a breath before continuing on. Do you have anything planned on Sunday? Not a thing, why? Then it's a date. I'll pick you up late morning. Oh right, we're going out. That means dating. I know what that entails in a rough sense. Romance movies aren't really my thing, but I've seen a couple that ship characters dating. It's just spending some time with the person you love, really. Time with the person you love. Person you love. That damn word keeps echoing around in my head. It actually feels nice to think about, like rolling a tasty bit of candy around in my mouth. Leaving a smile on my face, I know there's only one answer I can give. Cool. Pog date day. I have to admit, Sean knows how to win me over. I'm honestly surprised about the amount of new locations they've used, which is pretty nice. I have to admit, Hisao knows how to win me over. The odd beep and boop from the computers behind the counter and chintzy pop playing over the speakers provide the soundtrack to our romantic meal of burgers and fries. People watching provides a nice source of entertainment as well, with the place being fairly dull this time of day. Office workers in their smart white shirts and contrasting black slacks and skirts tap away at their phones checking their stocks and emails, while kids chat between themselves about this idol group or that video game. It's a nice atmosphere, casual, informal, no pretense of fine dining or any of that crap, just people having a bite while yakking to each other. I take a good bite of my burger and Sal slips a few fries into his mouth, both of us apparently being pretty hungry. You know, this is kind of like when we first met. Hisao pauses for a moment to think, looking like a squirrel with his cheeks full of fries. Eventually he gulps them down, having remembered that day. Oh right, when you took me to Shanghai. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I meant to do that. I meant to do that. Glad you noticed. I flick a check at his face in response, hitting him between his squinting eyes. So, what's next? Want to pop by the shrine we passed? Not really into visiting shrines. I'm surprised you're interested though. Doesn't hurt to throw in a coin and do the old rituals every so often. Didn't work for my hand, but maybe it's giving me a little luck in other places. He looks interested, but very much in a politely nodding way. I guess that sort of thing's more important to people who grew up with it. Yeah, I never really bothered much. That architecture's nice with temples and stuff, but that's about it. I take another bite of my burger before continuing on, unsatisfied with his answer. Do you actually believe in anything like, I don't know, stuff you can't see? God's spirits, karma, and afterlife? Any of that stuff? Not really. So it's that simple. It's not that I haven't done any thinking about it. Believe me, I did plenty of that while I was in hospital. Nearly dying would do that. Problem is, the more I read, the less I felt I knew. It's a funny thing how the more you research anything, the more you realize how little you actually understand. Yeah, for real. I absolutely devoured reading material, but in the end I found a whole lot of questions and not many answers. Pretty anticlimactic and end for a quest to understand mortality, huh? At least all that reading filled the time. That's... Hisao just sighs. Yeah, you're right, I guess it did. How about we hit the castle once we're done here? Could have a good wander around. He doesn't seem to be too interested in this suggestion, but nor am I. We both ponder a bit as we munch away at our food. An idea begins to form in my head, going by how acted during our time back home. I don't know how far it is from here or how expensive it is, but I'd like to think he'd like it. I always get worried when I see that grin. Eat up, Hisao. We've got places to be. He looks to me with concerned eyes, having no idea what's to come. Oh god, we just got like... Oh, wait, where are they aquarium? I thought we were going to a castle. I thought we were going to, like, fuck at an old castle or something. Cloaked in a deep blue glow, Hisao stands wide-eyed as he stares up at the tank before him. I tease him for being so amazed, but I'm doing just the same. A giant manta ray, impossibly huge, breezes past the window with its underside pointed at us. It's crazy how easily it cuts through the water with such small movements. Its mouth and gills look bizarre, so totally unlike anything that walks on land. Turn this up a little bit. Animals are cool. Sure are. As it glides around to the back of the tank, and we start walking to the next display. A gaggle of teenage girls, and why did they keep using them as gaggle? It's such a bad, like, term. A gaggle of teenage girls on the other side of the passage shriek in excitement, apparently overcome by the cuteness of a couple of turtles which swam up close to the window. Ah, I like turtles. You'd be forgiven for thinking that they were falling over a baby or something. We join their father and his young son at shark tanks, several of them lazily swimming around their enclosure. Not exactly at their most menacing when they're cooped up like this. They look more bored than ravenous. Hisao doesn't seem to mind though, still watching them float around with interest. Looks like I struck it out of the park on this one. Having fun here? I had no idea the city had an aquarium. You ever come here before? Me? Nah, probably should have. He goes back to looking at them swimming away after I give a shrug. What the fuck? Why is that just like a thing for a random kid? It's not that I noticed the young boy staring not at the sharks, but the one-handed girl nearby. Maybe I should take pride in being more interested in a few sharks. I poorly mime clutching at my stump and yelling in pain, drawing a smile from the kid. The spaces where he's lost a couple of baby teeth make it look all the cuter. I quickly step back and stiffen up as Hisao turns back to see what the movement was, pretending nothing happened. Doubting me, Hisao looks over to the boy. He does just the same, though even less convincingly than my own act. Though thoroughly beaten, Hisao moves on with me, quickly falling in beside him. I think I see a smile there, no matter how much he might try to play it off. You don't seem all that interested in sea life. Yeah, just used to seeing them, especially the wild ones. Jesus Christ, who cares? I guess when you grow up with something, it becomes the norm. Sure does. The aquarium is pretty cool though. It's first time I've seen some of these critters. You have a nice smile, you know that? What brought this on? I was just thinking how different you are to when you first started in Yamaku. If you had a color back then, it definitely would have been grey. And now? You look kind of blue right now. Blue means sad though. It takes a second for him to get it, but his face drops once he does. Alright, the light from the tanks. Very funny. I don't think anybody would argue that your color's red, as if that were ever a question. But yeah, I feel different to when I started at Yamaku as well. I can't see the entire path in front of me yet, but it feels like the fog is beginning to lift. A lot of that is thanks to you, you know. The world didn't change after I had my heart attack. I just got to see a whole different part of it. Maybe that's why I kind of get Mewtwo. When he goes on about how interesting this part of science is, all that, he's really talking about a new way of seeing the world, of understanding what's around us. Understanding Mewtwo, that's a scary thought. I am glad though. It feels like I'm dragging Hisao along life with me, and more like he's back on his legs and starting to walk on his own. It reminds me of how Susan and I ended up. That I can be there for another person like that makes me pretty happy. Eventually we reach the exit of the aquarium proper, entering the small gift shop. The two of us part to look at this knick-knack or that, from small stuffed animals to phone straps and stickers. I feel like I should buy something for his house, given that he paid for both our tickets, but even if he hadn't offered to get them, I couldn't have afforded one. You can practically see the tumbleweeds blown up across the empty expanse of my wallet. As I ponder my sadly lacking funds, I come across to the clothing section. It leaves me wondering who would want a hoodie with the name of an aquarium proudly displayed on it. One thing does catch my interest though, a baseball cap with a nice colour scheme and thankfully small logo. I pick it up to check the price, but end up sighing before putting it down on the shelf. Sometimes I can afford the old luxury, but this isn't going to be one of those weeks. What's up? Nothing. Found something. Did you? Ah, it's so cute. I point to the small stuffed turtle in his hand. Oh my god, I got a turtle when I went as well. Ah. Just something small to remember the place. You good to grab anything? No, wait, I'll serve for you. Okay, sure. See you there. Oh my god, that makes me so sad. Hisao and I slowly walk across the school grounds together. The oversized plastic bag at Hisao's side crumbles away with each step. With the sun finally setting, it looks like our day's finally together's finally over. Well, that's that. I had a great day, Hisao. What are you saying? The date's not over yet. Now that was smooth. He didn't quite manage to take it all the way, but his mouth giving a slight grin from nervousness at the suggestion, but he still gets an A for effort. I might have fallen for you even harder if you keep that up. Mind if we stay in your room tonight? Sure. Okay, we're gonna have to go through another of those scenes, that's fine. With that, the two of us make, I mean, there's always three, so I was just waiting. With that, the two of us make our way to the male dormitory building. A couple of dudes lounge around in the bottom floor common area, sipping at cans of soft drink as they watch television. A nice lazy way to spend an evening, really. We finally reached the floor of his house room. The familiar poorly pinned sheets of paper still hanging on the corkboard of the walls, albeit only barely. It's a pretty empty part of the dorms, but his house seems to like the quiet, so I'm not one to complain. Maybe you should have put something up on the boards. Like what? I haven't thought that far ahead. He claps me on the back of my head as we continue down the hall. Entering, oh, there it is. This is the sex music. Entering his room, it looks like the same as it always has. Spartan. A couple more bits and bobs have ended up on shelves in his desk, but nothing of much interest. Not that I dislike it though. It's almost charming in such a good example of his orderly personality. I put his hands on my waist as I turn back to him. I found our lips pressed together. I just closed my eyes, letting myself be taken in from the sensation. Alright, and we're just gonna like root for this. Especially when there's no one in chat, it's really awkward. Reading all the way the hat. My eyes open as I wait, okay, never mind. Even though it's not exactly a passionate embrace, I can still I can still feel my heart skip a beat. It's terrible how I fold so quickly like that when taken off guard. It takes me a moment to notice Hisao's hand retrieving something from the bag, leaving me to look up, stupefied as he pops it up onto my head. My eyes open wide as I realize what it is. How did you? I noticed you staring at it in the shop. I think it looks good on you. You know what? So do I. I jump at him, wrapping him in a hug. It still doesn't quite feel like a natural thing to do, but I feel like there's no other way to channel the energy I feel right now. This door can be really something. Oh shit, they didn't fuck? Fair enough. I mean, they probably did, but off screen. Sitting on my desk as we wait for some of these scenes, like they're too short. I'm like, it could be like just a little bit longer. Yeah. I think that's. Sitting on my desk as we wait for the teacher to show up, I find myself chatting away with Haru. Try as I might, I can't stop my fingers tapping on the desk beside me.
You look nervous.
Nervous? Who do you take me for? I'm just so excited for the lesson ahead that I can't stop moving in anticipation.
You managed to find a lie even less believable than what I said. Impressive.
I hate the English teacher. She's even worse than me too. Wait, they have different teachers? I thought it was just like, oh, we're in a different room. Yeah, what the fuck? I thought like the teacher just does everything like they do in primary school. The problem's with you, not him. The voice calling from behind me introduces a heavy sigh. I didn't ask you.
Maybe if you didn't go out all your way to annoy her, you wouldn't have so many problems.
But I don't. I just don't care about English. I don't even get why it's mandatory to learn. Does it look like America to you?
It's not just America, you know, it's Canada, Australia, New Zealand, England.
Well, how are we like 5th on that list when it's fucking called English? Come on.
Well, Scotland, Ireland,
Singapore. They speak English there too. Maybe you should pay more attention to geography as well as English. I bring my forearms over my ears to try and block out everyone's voices. I feel like I'm being egged. My attention is refocused as Harry takes out a particular worksheet. The sudden interest in it doesn't escape him.
So that's why you're so antsy.
Okay, so I kind of, sort of, maybe didn't completely do all the homework we were set. He just smiles at me knowingly. I am 200% screwed, yeah. But you know, if you were so kind as to let me copy your homework super quickly...
I think that's not a point to use of mine. I'm not better than you in this.
Looks over the Suzu.
Why don't you ask your boyfriend anyway?
Oh god, his voice, I hate it.
At least that way you might scrounge up a decent mark.
I turn my head back to his house, still standing next to the desk while busily looking over the very worksheet I need so badly. Hey Hisao, can I go but do it yourself? See, maybe you can try getting that stick out of his ass. I heard that. It's lodged in there real tight. He puts his hand on top of my head and latches down, dragging my head around with his grip tightening by the second. It's kind of painful, dude. And good. Maybe if you did your homework, sometimes this wouldn't be happening. I get the feeling Hisao's holding back less and less when it comes to being rough with me, which suits me just fine, even if it does mean suffering a little more. But for all the teasing they may give me, I do have a lot of fun these days. Life became a lot easier once I stopped trying so hard. It's great for Hisao that he's finding his groove, but as for myself, my time has passed. The contentment I feel now is enough for me. As the teacher finally shows up and begins to stride in, she gives me more than a passing glance. I have a feeling this is going to be a very long lesson. Right, that personality. A good jog around the tracks is probably one of the more productive ways to deal with stress. God knows that I'd be in a world of hurt if I told that woman what I really thought of her. Given the amount of sweat building up already, and the thought passes my mind that I should actually count the number of laps I do on one of these days, or time myself doing some sprints. Compared to people like Amy, though, I just couldn't care less about records or self-improvement. Running for the sake of running is a perfectly good way to spend the time after all. Not that his style seems to really see it that way. He might have cheated by joining me joining me well after I'd started, but his heart having played up during the holidays has made me appreciate how he still throws himself at the track. He still doggedly tries to regain his previous physical fitness, or at least as much of it as he can. You're keeping up well, Hisao. That's because I'm trying, unlike you in class. Trying so hard that he's doing this in his normal school uniform, unlike me in my proper gym gear. Oh, come on, I don't need another person on my case. He looks genuinely annoyed with me, that haughty sense of judgment towards that. Okay, this is a little loud, this song. That haughty sense of judgment towards what he thinks counts as an incorrectly lived life reminds me a little of Shizune and a strict nature. Then again, as much as I may dislike living according to their standards, I can respect that disciplined attitude toward life. I grin as I reach beside me and take his wrist in my hand. You have some terrible idea again, don't you? Yep. With that, I speed up and drag him along behind me, the two of us breaking off the track and away from the school building. The storage... Oh no, not the storage shed! The storage shed still gives me bad memories as we pass by, Hisao nearly getting dragged off his feet as I speed up to get past it. As we enter the greenery ahead, both of us disappear from sight of each other. I start slowly down as we get deeper in, eventually letting go of his hand as the two of us start to walk the rest of the distance. There isn't really any singular spot I'm looking for, as we could end up almost strolling in the entire undergrowth for a while. Still breathing a little heavier than usual thanks to my efforts on the track, I make do with watching his style. The way his eyes turn this way and that makes it obvious he's a tourist more than a local. Never been here before? Nope. I occasionally wondered what it was like behind the track. Well, now you know. I'm not totally sure if this land is actually owned by the school, but they sure don't make much effort to clean it up if they do. Still not a scratch on the forest back up north, though. You got that right. I run my hand through my hair as I look about, seeing a little but trees, bushes, and undergrowth. Listening intently reveals that we're not quite alone, with fallen leaves shuffling in the distance from some squirrel darting around. As far as humans go, though, there are few who'd venture this far on a whim. The companion slowly stops walking as we reach the heart of the forest. Turning to him, Hisao backs up to a tree and lets himself slide to the ground, letting his head fall onto the trunk in defeat. You can't be serious. What's up? Don't play innocent with me. There aren't many reasons for a guy and girl to sneak off alone, especially when one of them is you. I throw my arms up and surrender. It was only a matter of time before we worked it out. Oh no, I've been caught. Whatever will I do? Oh, a way to let off some stress, but very effective, especially with someone else. Your heart's racing, isn't it? If we get caught, we'll be in for the high jump without any water. There's nobody here, man. Besides, the fresh air will give a nice change to a stuffy bed. Alright, yeah. Alright, they're just gonna like fuck outside, yeah. Kind of based. Large hands. Alright. I win. Oh my god. Okay. We'll read that bit. Okay. This is a long scene. I will read this off stream better. Oh my god. Wait, what? You really went all out, didn't you? I was frustrated with you, I guess. Still frustrated? I lost track of what I was even annoyed about. As we lie there looking at each other, that sensation I felt on my behind slightly comes back to haunt me. You didn't. He just averts his eyes. He did. That's funny. That's funny. Right, we shouldn't have any more of those scenes, so. I only watched the scene before me from afar, an impenetrable wall standing between them and I. About 7 boys, lightly first years by the looks of them, seem to have gotten their hands on a baseball bat and gloves from the storage shed. Their blazers piled near a tree they've taken to the field with gusto. Not a bad way to kill some time after school's finished for the day, really. The batter loads himself and brings his bat into position, preparing for the pitch. The posture of his upper body is pretty much right, but his footwork is horrible. The pitcher's tongue flicks around along his lips as he focuses himself. A quick look around the field betrays his lack of confidence, needing to reassure himself of where his few friends are standing. Going by the hand he's repeatedly dropping the ball into, he looks like he's a southpaw. I put money on the pitcher being the weak link in the game, despite the short-staffed fielding team. We managed to have left field, right field, and the shortstop position covered between them, waiting with their ready hands and focused eyes. The catcher nods. Why is every other thing? Wow. The catcher nods, and with a long breath, the pitcher pulls his arms back. Everyone, including me, tenses out, waiting for the critical moment. With little warning, the moment arrives. His left arm flies forward in an unmistakable fastball. His entire body moving with the one goal of getting as much speed on the thing as possible. While he's no professional, the sight of a fit body in such fluid practice motion is one of the most impressive things to watch. For an amateur just messing around, he sure puts some steam on it. The batter's eyes remain steadfastly on the ball, not shrinking from the challenge. The sound of impact echoes around the field as he nails a solid hit, the ball shooting flat and just to the right, and straight into the stomach of one very unfortunate fielder. Everyone around cringes at the sight. The force of the blow dazes him for a moment before he crumples to the ground, arms clutching at his sore torso. It doesn't take long for his friends to quickly jog over. That didn't look fun. I turn to see Hassan have coming up behind me, eyes still watching the events unfolding ahead. A couple of bruised ribs at least, I imagine. That's what happens when you try to play like a pro without the practice to back it up. Or the protective gear. That too. He turns on his heel and gestures for me to follow. Without anything else to do, I shrug and obediently do so. As we arrive in Hassan's room, it's his desk that immediately catches my attention. On it sits a couple of textbooks, one open to a bookmark page and a notebook before the chair. As Hassan steps back to allow a better view of them, it's hard not to be suspicious. Take a seat. Your after-school study lessons begin today. Really? Yes, really. I'm not much good at humanities, but since you're managing to just pass those, we can probably afford to skip them. Can't we just have some fun in bed instead? Like, maybe watch a movie on your laptop or something? No, we will learn. He just crosses his arm in response. He's really set his mind to this. Another glance at his desk shows one possible reason. Peeking out from beneath the heavy chemistry textbooks lies a copy of glossy university brochures. So this is what brought this on. In part, I do want to help, you know. You've been doing great at tutoring Suzu, isn't that enough? That's completely beside the point. Why are you so hesitant about applying yourself at schoolwork? I'm not hesitating, I just don't care. There's a difference. I've heard that before. You'll care an awful lot in a few months, I can tell you that now. I already know I'll get some crappy job, boo-hoo. Man, this is too fucking real. So that's what you think about first. What do you mean? What, you mean this is about us together? Come on, I know you'd be cool with being around each other a bit less if we ended up in different places. But you wouldn't. I don't even know why I'm telling you all this. You already knew, didn't you? His elf couldn't be sharp when he puts his mind to it, much to my annoyance. As much as I might try to dance around the elephant in the room, he's not letting up and pursuing it. This is fun, isn't it? We'd be a good pair. Life with Haru, Yukio, Suzu, and everyone else is great too. Even if it can't last forever, can't we just enjoy the time we have? So that's all this ever was in your mind, just a fling before we gave up and parted at graduation. I'm just being realistic. Those three words hurt him more than I think I've ever managed to in the past. Maybe I didn't understand just how much sway I had over his emotions until now. It's he who breaks the silence. Was there ever anything special to you? Something more than just a chew toy to throw out once you got bored with? This is so sad. Please don't end up breaking up. That's not fair. I'm being perfectly fair. I lost everything that was precious to me, but I worked damn hard to get myself back together. Now you're just gonna flake out on me, shrug and say you've had enough? Well, pardon me for drawing the short straw in life. You have money, a normal family, you're smart, you'll probably get into some nice poncy university. You won. Well done. Teaching the Kai has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? I tried, man. I worked my guts out, and look at where it got me. Stop being a dick just because not all of us can be as lucky as you. Yeah, we're all lucky. I apologising is the last thing I want to do, but I didn't mean to wound him like that. All I can do is grit my teeth, accepting the anger he must feel in me right now. Don't fight, guys. I just want to help you. I love you, Miki. Really? Because that's from where I'm standing. It looks more like you fell for who you thought could make me into. It's not my fault you only want to be around me for a few months. Is that what you could call love? I thought you'd finally become someone pretty cool after all this time, but it turns out you're just a bore who hides behind his arrogance. Take that back. Piss off. You're the one talking down to me. It's only by clenching my fist until my knuckles whiten that I stave off the adrenaline coursing through me. But as he continues looking at me with eyes of pure contempt, I feel my body preparing to lash out. Left with no other outlet, I quickly turn around. Okay, this is gone. I turned out too much. I quickly turn around and punch his door out on the way out of his tormentory room. Arguing with the asshole any longer isn't going to change his mind. Miki, come back! I didn't bother turning around as I heard his voice coming from behind me. I don't even want to see his stupid mug right now. Like hell I will. I have a nice life at university, asshole. I misjudged him. I took his changing personality to mean he was like me, relearning how to enjoy life after such radical change, but it looks like he's more interested in lauding himself over others. I don't need someone like that. Bro, please don't end. It was so sad. I idly hit the back of my head repeatedly against a dresser in my room, sitting on the floor as Yukio leans against my desk and Haru sits on the side of my bed. It's been a while since we had an impromptu meeting like this, but they soon agreed after I recounted what happened. That ain't gonna help. It doesn't hurt either. Yukio just crosses his arms, moving on to the important matters. You screwed up. Tell me something I don't know. Are you two gonna fight again right now? I'm just telling you the truth. To be honest, I saw this coming. I don't think I'm the only one either. You're not the type to be tied down, that's for sure. I give a grin at the comment, which earns a quick rebuke from the other. That's not a good thing. For all the fun you're having now, eventually you'll need to face life outside. You might have your head on straight compared to your early days in Yamaku, but that doesn't mean anything in the outside world. Quite frankly, I don't blame his for trying to slap that into you. So he's taken his side in this. That's not a shock given Yuki's straight-laced nature, but it still sucks. Haru's impish smile takes my mind off the unwanted lecture I'm getting. What's with you?
This isn't about some attempt to get you to study, is it?
I move to protest, but a lower voice at the back of my head tells me that he's not entirely wrong. It is true that I don't care about my academic results. I'm too far gone to recover my grades now, and what's the point anywhere one unlucky town could take it all away? I don't think I'd have the strength to endure that. Not again. What most echoes in my mind since that argument, though, isn't the words spoken, it's the way Hisao looked. I don't think I've ever hurt a person like that before. Why didn't everyone else seem more clued into this than me?
Sometimes looking in from the outside is what's needed. We can get stuck in our own heads and unable to view a situation objectively.
I don't get it.
Yeah, me neither. I'm surrounded by idiots. I don't know what you really expect from us, Miki. As much as I'd like to wave a magic wand and make it all go away, you're gonna have to deal with him eventually. He's right, you know. You know, it's not like you have to be going out to be together. You get along just as friends, didn't you? The Oof is right. Being friends isn't any better or worse than lovers.
You say like you have experience. Hitting on random girls doesn't count.
You shouldn't make assumptions.
Oh? Yukio just closes his eyes, frustrated with me for trying to... Hello. It's really sad. This bit is sad. We had an argument, and now his sound doesn't like us, and I'm sad. How you doing? Then like this whole like session has been really good though. It's been like there's some really cute parts, and now I'm sad. Yukio just closes his eyes, frustrated with me for trying to change the topic onto him. As much as we may fight, his uncompromising attitude can be helpful sometimes. With a snort, he stops leaning onto the desk and starts to leave.
Where are you going? Far as I can see, there's not much point being here. I don't mind being used as a scratching post, Miki, but you don't even know what it is you want to do.
What should I do?
I don't know. Neither would Haru. Work out whatever will leave you with no regrets. That's all I can tell you.
With that, he leaves. Haru just stays where he is, doing his best to not look too serious about all this. Why do I feel like I just got scolded?
Because you did.
So, what do you think about all of this?
I just want everyone to be happy. That's pretty much it.
I don't think I've ever seen you. I don't think I've ever seen you anything other than happy. How do you manage that all the time?
You just gotta smile. It's hard to feel sad when you got a big grin on your face.
Huh, I guess. He brings his legs out before leaving himself off the bed, clapping me on the shoulder as I tape to my feet.
You shouldn't worry so much. It's weird to see you so concerned about something.
I know.
You'll work it out. If there's one thing I've learned about you, it's that you're a stronger person than most. To be honest, I've always admired that about you.
Thanks, you're a good friend, and Yukio too, when he isn't being an ass. Haru just laughs.
That's more like it. Good luck, Miki.
It's weird that he's like the friend in this when we beat the shit out of him on the other arc. We give our goodbyes to each other as he leaves, my room being emptied once again. I might not know what I want, but I do know what I don't want. The silence of an empty room, the loneliness of being without friends. In other words, the life I'd lived before in Yamaku. As I look out my window, a decision soon forms in my mind. After all, one thing has always stayed constant, no matter what's happened around me in life. It's been a damn long time since I've punished my body like this before. I don't even know how precisely where this is. My legs carry me a good distance but beyond the small town below Yamaku. I barely even managed to get off the road before collapsing beside it, utterly drained of every ounce of energy I had. Try as I might, my arms and legs simply refuse to move. All I can do is lay helplessly on my back, chest heaving as my body grabs at any oxygen it can. My eyes have trouble focusing, but it's not like there's much to look at, just a blue cloudless sky looming above, impossibly vast compared to the insignificance of me and my collapsed body. I've seen this sight before, come to think of it, after I messed up once again. I guess that's a pretty shitty thing to associate with a nice summer's day. A bird soars overhead, squawking as it reaches out with its great wings and begins to glide on the air. I briefly wonder if it's teasing me. That is, before I get a solid kick directed into the side of my ribs. Ow! I roll my head slightly to see who's stuck their foot into me, only to find the wind taken out of my sails. Oh, it's you. So he just like followed us down into town after she just ran away? Okay. Isao just looks down at me, his face flat. Try as I might, I just can't get a read on him at all, and he isn't saying anything. So why are you here? To make things clear, I've had enough of being dumped the easy way. He lowers himself to the ground, taking a seat beside my slowly recovering body. Silence ensues as we both end up watching the bird hovering above us, barely making any headway as it rides the breeze. How'd you find me? A one-handed girl running through the campus and local town in a male uniform isn't exactly subtle. He has a point, I never have been the subtle type after all. The letter of his I managed to find bubbles into my memory. I can't remember how much of it, but I can see his point. Getting dumped would be hard enough, let alone when the other side doesn't care enough about you to do it properly. You came all the way just to make sure it was you who was dumping me? How terrible. Don't put words in my mouth. I never thought it would happen, but his house completely managed to take hold of the conversation. Between his placid face, brief replies, and their monotone voice, I have little choice but to let him talk as he wants. It's a funny place, this. Half in the country, half in the city. A school for students with disabilities. An idea strange enough to feel surreal when you first enroll, but utterly normal once you've been here for a while. Isolated enough that some are dumped here to hide them away, but with staff and facilities so good that others think it's their kid's best chance. I have to admit, I've only ever seen it just as another school. Sure, most of the students have disabilities or whatever of whatever kind, but it's still just a bunch of regular teenagers and some teachers trying to make them learn. All depends on your point of view, I guess, just like everything. Are we seriously going to do that say sorry to each other and make up thing? Not at all. I stand by what I said. Well, good, because I stand by what I said too. The silence afterwards makes me wonder if I said the right thing. I'm still confused why he's even wanting to talk to me or why I'm not questioning him about it. I've totally let myself get caught in his pace. Unless he's just dancing around what he really wants to say. Now that I think about it, that really is something he'd do. Still sore from my running, I managed to set myself up with some difficulty. I'm not buying the poker face thing. Out with it, Isao. In the end, I just can't keep up with you. You might want to run around and play rough, but I just can't do that anymore. I wish I could. Well, what about me? It's too late for me to rescue my studies. I am an idiot anyway. Sure, I might get some scholarship or another, but I just flunked the academics anyway. We started from such a similar place, but our paths are already drifting apart so fast. This always happens after all. Given enough time, everyone I enjoy spending life with slips from my fingers. Dude, this is getting too real. It's just the same for him, given his friends and his ex. Is it really so wrong to admit that and just enjoy the present? I think I read this, but whatever. This always happens after all. Given enough time, everyone I enjoy spending life with slips from my fingers. It's just the same for him. Given his friends and his ex, is it really so wrong to admit that and just enjoy the present? I don't want to let go, Miki, and I know you don't either. No matter what you said, it's going to happen again. It always does. So you're not going to even try. That's not the Miki I fell for. You work so hard in your baseball team, and your body is proof that you kept working hard at staying physically strong. You made such tight bonds with the friends you had back home and with others, and with the ones at Yamaku too. Maybe you're right, and it will fall apart. Maybe we might get into the same university. We might not. We might not stay together, even if we do. But I want to try, Miki, because I love you. It feels like Hisao has my heart in his hands, gently, squeezingly stares at me with those eyes. It's not that he's begging, but hoping. This is what hope looks like. After all this time, I'd forgotten what that was like. All I can do in response is give a long sigh. It's ironic, isn't it? The first time we truly feel like a couple is after we've broken up. We don't need to stay that way. You really are a hopeless romantic, you know that? Is that a bad thing? Don't put words in my mouth. There it is again. I really do like that smile of his. I could forgive a lot about him just for the chance to see more of that face. As I take to my feet and dust myself off, Hisao doing the same. For some reason, I don't feel tired at all. Whatever am I going to do with you, boy? Perhaps go out with me again? Together? Together, huh? I give a grin as I swing my arm around his house now. That doesn't sound so bad when you say it. With that, I put one foot ahead of the other as I begin to walk once more, Hisao being dragged along. I don't think I've seen where this road leads ahead of here after all. Wait, hold on. Where are we going? Anywhere we want to, boy. He gives just a snort of laughter, smiling as I drag him along. I guess we're both going to change in the weeks, months, and years ahead. That's how life is, though. You can't just set things up the way you want them and expect them to go on forever. Like this, the two of us will walk forward towards that unknown future ahead of us together. It was so sad. It was such a good ending, though. I'm glad they didn't, like, I'm glad they tried again. Oh, here's this, yeah, the sprites back on kind of shooting. Deji, the fuck? Dream Daddy, that's what it was from. I knew I recognized him. That's the dad. Man, that was so sad. That was really good though. I think that was definitely like more satisfying. Even though it basically had the same sort of ending with like something dramatic happening and then it like kind of ends, but I get I don't know. I think that last scene was fine being that brief. It felt more like sort of fitting than the Suzu one. And yeah, it was kind of weird. I expected the Hitsawa one to be sort of like an not an afterthought, but um a lot less in depth than the Suzu one. And although I'm kind of surprised we didn't get like a heart attack scene or anything like we almost did, but it felt like it was really like just in there for the sake of it. That was really good, like way better than I thought it was gonna be. Especially the Hisawa, that last like 2 hours or like yeah, basically like everything today that like, especially the last hour, dude, that fucking like that hit me. That was rough. But yeah, I'm glad I read it all and finished it, and yeah, I'll be uploading all this for no one to watch because nobody knows this game exists apparently. And now we just wait another like 15 years for another one of these games to maybe exist. Maybe, I don't know. It feels like a nice bookend sort of, but also I would read stories about this about this series to the end of time. I think the fact that it still affects me like the same way 10 years on is yeah, pretty incredible. But yeah, I thought it was gonna be maybe a little bit longer, so I think I might just end rather than just sit here awkwardly and wait for someone to stream. Yeah. Anyways, I know I don't think anybody's here, but thanks for watching anyway. And if for some reason you saw this on YouTube,